So what does it really mean to be a gentleman today? You hear that word all the time, right? But when you stop and think about it, it's actually pretty complex. Well, today we're going to dig into one really interesting framework that tries to map out the anatomy of a gentleman, starting from the inside and working its way out.
So let's just put the question right out there. What is it that truly defines a gentleman in our world? Is it about opening doors or wearing a certain kind of suit? Or is there something way deeper going on? That's exactly what we're about to explore.
Okay, let's get into it. The source we're looking at today gives us this incredible blueprint for understanding the whole concept. It actually breaks it all down into 5 key pieces that fit together. And it all starts with the stuff you can't even see.
To get started, we've got to look inward. You see, this source argues that the entire foundation of a gentleman isn't based on what we see on the surface. Nope. It's all about this inner framework that drives everything else. This is kind of like the engine room. And that unseen foundation, it's built on 3 main pillars: cognition, attitudes, and what it calls psychological aspects. You can almost think of these as the internal software, you know? The programming that's always running in the background. Let's take a quick look at what each one of these really means.
So, first up, we've got cognition. This is all about the machinery of the mind. And we're not just talking about being smart here. It's about how you think, how you process the world around you, and how you make judgments. According to this framework, everything a gentleman does starts right here, with thoughtful awareness.
Okay, building on top of that, we have attitudes. These are basically our default settings, that mix of beliefs, feelings, and emotions that kind of shape how we react to things. So if cognition is the processor, you could say attitudes are the lens that we see the world through. It colors everything.
And the last piece of this internal puzzle is this bigger idea of psychological aspects. This is really the whole picture of someone's inner world, their overall mental and emotional state. It's what ties their thinking and their attitudes together into one cohesive personality. It's their core character, really.
Now, this slide right here is the perfect bridge. See, on the left, you've got that whole internal world we just talked about, the cognition, the attitudes, the psychology. And on the right, you see what it creates in the external world. It's a fantastic visual that shows how the unseen literally powers the seen.
So, with that in mind, let's cross that bridge and take a look at the outward expression. This is the part of the anatomy that everybody can actually see, the things you do, and the way you present yourself to the world. The source boils this down to 2 key things we can observe. First, there's behavior. This is the direct output of that inner framework we talked about. Our actions are just our thoughts and attitudes made real. And second, there are the physical aspects. Now, this isn't just about clothes, it's the whole way a person presents and carries themselves, which is also a direct reflection of what's going on inside.
All right, so we've looked at the internal stuff and the external stuff. Now it's time to put all the pieces together and see the complete picture, the full anatomy of a gentleman, at least according to our source material.
And there it is, the whole shebang. This chart just lays it all out perfectly. You've got all 5 components, the 3 internal ones we began with, and the 2 external ones we just finished on. And each one is an equal piece of the puzzle. The big idea here is that it's not just one of these things, it's a complete interconnected system.
And you know, the source itself makes it pretty clear why this 5-part model is so important. This quote right here basically says that understanding this anatomy is the foundation. It's the key you need to unlock a much deeper understanding of the whole topic.
So, after going through this whole blueprint, what's the main idea we should walk away with? Let's quickly recap the most important points.
Okay, first, being a gentleman is about both the internal world and the external actions. You need both. Second, and this is probably the most crucial point, the unseen world of your thoughts and attitudes is the engine that drives the seen world of your behavior. And finally, what this does is give us a really clear, structured way to think about what can be a very fuzzy concept.
So we've just walked through one very specific, very detailed blueprint. But that's just what it is, one definition. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. Beyond this specific model, what does the anatomy of a gentleman really mean in our world right now, to you? Something interesting to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.